What's going on, awesome people? So good to see you all again. For those of you who haven't noticed, I've started to do a lot more IG lives in the past few days. It's all for a couple of reasons. One, to show love to our uniters at Unite and Conquer who've been doing so much to help us out with everything we've been doing at Unite and Conquer in South Florida and the online content. And also to continue to remind you that we're starting a new series called Countdown to Freedom in Iran. It'll be a live stream that's starting on January 18th. Every Wednesday night, we're going to be having some hopefully deep and impactful conversations with some shakers, some movers, and some people that are being extremely impactful during this revolution. So this is just our way to keep the conversation going. And I've been having some great conversations with a few of our uniters so far. And we're going to continue to have it. And one of the main conversations that we're going to have today is actually going to be a topic about mental health and suicide. For those of you who have been online, I'm sure you've heard about the tragic story of Mohamad Moradi from France. It has really shaken the Iranian community globally for a multitude of reasons. And my uniter that I'll be talking to today, which is one of my dear longtime friends, Paris Mansouri, we're going to get into that. But before I get into that and having Paris here, right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, if you are going through a really, really difficult time, please know that first of all, every Iranian is going through a difficult time. So right off the bat, know that you're not alone in this journey. But if you are having even deeper troubles, just know that you are a phone call, a conversation, one friend away from getting back on track. I'm not here to judge, to know the severity of your situation, but I want you to know that there are many people that wholeheartedly love you and they care for you. And if you only reach out to them, whether it's in person or over the phone or however way, email, text, Morse code, I don't give a damn. But I know that if you reach out to a handful of people, they will 100% will be there for you and they're going to help you out no matter what you're going through. We're in this fight together and we need everybody here. This fight that we're fighting for requires you to be of good sound of mind, health, body, soul, and it will break our hearts for anyone to take their own life. And so just know that you are an incredible, valuable person to this world. It's a gift to have you in this world and we want to keep you here for as long as possible. So having said that, I'm going to bring in Paris in just a moment. If you are in South Florida on Sunday, January 1st at 4:30 p.m., we're having our first mural reveal. We're so excited. Thanks to our uniter, Nikki, who's been leading this effort, and our other uniters such as Gulnaz and our artist, Claudia. We're about to reveal the first Unite and Conquer mural, and it's beautiful. It's going to be amazing. It's in downtown Miami in the Wynwood area. Please join us. It'll be ending up with a nice little vigil right during sunset. So if you're not in South Florida, then tell somebody that you know in South Florida. By the way, I'm not smoking anything. I came out of the shower and my eyes are all red. I don't have any kind of dropper, so if I look weirder than usual, my bad. But love you all for checking in and tuning in. Let me go ahead and bring my fabulous friend, Montreal. I've known her since like 2008 when I was working in Qatar and she was working in Qatar, so we have this Doha connection. And several years later, here we are crossing paths again, trying our best to bring freedom to Iran. I keep on pressing accept, but it's not bringing it in. Give me 1 second, guys. Una momento. Do not go anywhere. Did. It's always awkward having this little moment of technical difficulty. Stay tuned. Hold on. This is so strange. I've never had this issue. Paris, can you unrequest and request again? I don't know when I'm pressing it, it's not happening. Kind of strange. Let me see if I can delete it. Ajab. Okay, she's unable to join. Let's try it again. Live TV, ladies and gentlemen, live TV.
I keep pressing yes. Instagram
Hi.
did not want to connect us.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't me. Okay, that's cool. For a second, I thought it was me. So you're the problem.
I am the problem. Yes, I'll take that.
You are nothing but the solution at Unite and Conquer. So.
Not at all. Like I'm so nervous. I can't even begin to tell you.
Nervous?
This is the weirdest thing for a journalist who's usually doing the question and asking. I know that we did it for the live stream for Iran, but it doesn't get easier. So pardon my nervousness.
This is nothing but a couple of good friends catching up with a few people watching. But yeah, so for a little background for those who don't know, Paris is a graduate of Canada's Concordia University Journalism Program. She has worked as a TV, radio, and television news anchor, reporter, and producer. She has lived and worked internationally as a writer and editor for publications in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Egypt, and as I mentioned earlier, Qatar. That's where we all met. And in addition to her work in journalism, she spent over a decade heading marketing and communication teams for multinational companies specializing in tech, real estate, fashion, F&B, and entertainment. And she currently provides marketing and communication services to international clients and contributes to radio stations on the iHeartRadio network and on television on the Corus Entertainment network. And as of late, in the past 4 months, she has been a badass uniter, helping to decipher the undecipherable and all the hot mess that's going on in this world, and just being a dear, dear friend to me and the entire Uniters family. So welcome, Paris.
Thank you. It's been such a privilege, truly. I mean, the accolades are nothing if you can't unite and just give back and work with colleagues and friends and just do something. And I just find that, I mean, this is the thing that I first told you when you first asked. It's like the team is so incredible. The Uniters are so incredible. I mean, the titles, the experience, and what they bring to the table. So it's just like, if I could like commit half of what they've done, I feel like I've given back. So your team is incredible, and I'm grateful that you asked.
It's been great. Please change the word from your to our team.
Our team.
Our team. It's our family. It's a privilege to work with all these awesome individuals. It's been truly the silver lining in this entire hell of a process, the revolution that is, So you got to find silver linings at every opportunity you get.
Yeah.
So for those who might not know about Unite and Conquer and exactly what Uniters are, what you're doing, what is it like to be a Uniter? Let's start off with that.
It's just being able to give back and to be part of the community and not feel like you're aligning with anyone. I think right now, so many of us are trying, like, we don't know what to do. And we all have different skill sets and different ways we can contribute to our community. And so many people are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I live in a small town. There are not a lot of Iranian people where I live. And what I find is that through your group, you have been able to form not only one big group, but major subgroups in different cities where people can join in. And I'm in Montreal. I'm nowhere near you guys. And it's just an opportunity for people to just not only feel like they've done something, but actually successfully be able to help and see the fruits of the labor without feeling, especially right now, unfortunately, there are so many groups in the diaspora where we question their intentions. And the way and the premise that you've built Unite and Conquer, the Uniters, is no one's coming with any vested interest. All we're trying to do is amplify the voices of those inside Iran and help get their message out. There's literally no other intent other than that. So it's just every single person who's a member of this team is just doing what they can with their expertise and knowledge. And also what we've noticed is that so many people in the group have just discovered extra talents and have pitched in areas that's been completely out of their zone, comfort zone, just knowledge-based, expertise-based, like completely different industries, but people just be like really rolling up their sleeves and going, like, help me, just tell me like ABC and I'll figure out the rest of the alphabet. And it's just been super inspirational.
Tell me, like, most of us have been seeing everything that's going on in Iran from the lens of a regular person, Iranian, whether born and raised in Iran or outside. What's been like the most frustrating part from an angle of a journalist that you are, as you've been kind of watching this whole thing unfold the last 4 months?
The lack of education, the frustration that, when we are given the chance to do an interview, it's not a 1 hour interview. It's literally 3 to 4 minutes, max 5 minutes. And in that brief period of time, we're supposed to explain what's happening. But anyone familiar with what's happening in Iran, we can't just start by saying, well, there's a young woman who was, you know, murdered by people who aren't really the police, but guard the city like they're the police. Like, you have to explain the backstory. And there's so much lack of education that in explaining the backstory, you're spending half the time. And then by the time you want to get to the point, get to action items, get to the meat of the story, there's so little left, so little time left. So being able to make people care about the story is hard, because we have to go back to 1979. What happened then? How did it happen? Why was it that such a progressive society wanted to overthrow their leader at the time? And well, if it's been going on for 40 years, then, you know, it's been going on for 40 years. It is what it is. I guess you guys will figure it out. And it's so sad to say that oftentimes, even within the Iranian diaspora, the ones that were born and raised here, who are deprived of an education that included Iranian history, that included basically not only what happened to us, but the contributions to culture and society, whether it is through the arts, through the scientists, through engineering, poetry, language, literature, so much of it. Like even Christmas right now, like a lot of people don't know that we have the story of Mitra that's like from 1500 BC, who was born and brought love and light into the world and had 12 disciples, and also was gone for 3 days and then was resurrected long before we had the story of Jesus, you know. And I didn't grow up knowing that story. I grew up wanting a Christmas tree and not having a Christmas tree at home, and my parents just being like, no, we can go and celebrate Christmas at other people's homes, but we don't get a tree at our house. And I never understood. And I'm not faulting my parents. I have incredible parents, but I'm like, I wish they would have told me the story of Mitra, and that way when I would have gone to school, I would have been like, oh, well, we have a similar story, you know, and just kind of felt like more a part of it. Or like the Declaration of Human Rights story, or, you know, the fact that Persians, I mean, when we're talking about the highways of the world and like the Autobahn in Germany, how many of us know that the first ever highway of the world was Royal Road from the Achaemenid Empire, you know? And it's like such, or refrigeration. There's so many different side conversations that we can have that are educational. And I mean, I'm just talking right now about life, but if we're talking about politics, the other frustration is that so many people don't know the history and don't know what happened in 1979 and speak of certain players a certain way. And there's an absolute belief that, you know, we can, some people like democracy, some people want socialism, some people have communist beliefs, and some people are staunch anti-monarch systems or anti-monarchist. And there's room for everyone at the table. But what there's no room for is fallacies, like spreading further propaganda and misrepresenting our history to serve a purpose. And so the greatest frustration right now is not only the media, the Western media, and the way they're covering our story, but the lack of education that us Iranians have had about our own history that prevents us from really sharing our story. And as you know, as a storyteller, you write stories for people through video, you know, through writing, through imagery. You capture people's life in a nutshell when you do events. And you know how important that is. And I believe that it is, we're going to fail ourselves if we don't tell our story correctly.
Well, and that's what happens when a regime has been basically washing away all of our cultural elements. So there's a whole generation or two that's been growing up not knowing all this stuff. I mean, I myself, like the Mitra situation, you shared it with me a couple of days ago. I was like, I had absolutely no idea, you know. And so that lack of education has really deprived us of being able to learn so much beauty about our culture. And hopefully we'll be able to reignite all that once we get a free Iran. But you got me all of a sudden thinking about how at Unite and Conquer we need to make more and more content about these little things, just like 1-minute videos. So keep up, let's have this little side note.
And see, and I just want to add to it. I know that there, unfortunately, sometimes, and I'm sure we may have had parents who are like, if we say something, it's like in Iranian, or it's like they'll turn a name into like an Iranian sounding name or link it to something. That's not the point. That's not the point. Isn't for us to say we're the best or everything is rooted in Iran. That's not the intent. The intent is to be able to have inclusive conversations. The intent is for our children to be able to feel included and to feel a sense of pride. During the live stream when I heard Sarah Shahi speak of this, and actually several people speak about not being proud of their Iranian history, their Iranian identity, or wanting to say that they're of a different nationality just because of embarrassment. And if we do a better job, regardless of a free Iran or not, we will be proud of our history, of our nationality, and we will feel more included. Because I grew up feeling excluded, not having a Christmas tree. But had I known the story of Mitra, I would have felt a little closer to my friends who are Christian, who had the story of a birth and a resurrection. And not to say that everyone is religious, but it's in a sense to unite us and to show that we're not that different. And that little Iranian child who may feel othered or who may feel different because all of these countries have these amazing things, then we can know about the contributions that we made. And regardless of where we are, we do feel like we're part of the conversation and not like, oh, that's so great. Like, be able to have pride in ourselves too. That was the point of the conversation.
What else do you think, or what do you think is missing from the Iranian diaspora experience in general? Like, or what else is there?
It's the sense, and I feel like this hit me really strong. And I know that a lot of times during the meetings that we had earlier on with Unite and Conquer was we've never worked, like if somebody has lived and grown up in Iran, they have the benefit of having this Iranian community. Your colleagues are Iranian, your doctor is Iranian, everyone's Iranian because you're living in the nation. And so when we're living abroad, depending on whether we're living in a big city where there is a large diaspora or not, it's like an experience to know, but our colleagues are multicultural. So the experience of being able to be surrounded by Iranians who maybe don't even speak the language, to anyone watching, it's not like we're sitting gathered like kumbaya speaking Persian, Persian all the time. It's literally people of Persian descent, Persian background, Iranian descent, Iranian background, coming together and working together. And that's the experience that's missed so much, because it's like, these are our people. Like, this is the experience we would have had. And it's cathartic. It's also extremely therapeutic. And even if we're speaking in English all the time, 99% of the time, it's still you're talking to people. And we know, like we knew when the Mohamad Moradi story hit, like we all had a really deep reaction just because it kind of hit us that a compatriot who's outside Iran literally went to the extreme of trying to get attention. And we've been doing it through art. We've been doing it through conversation, through marching, and it hit a note like, wait, we don't want to lose our people, and it elevated the conversation to a different level.
So now that you brought up Mohamad Moradi, we can go ahead and talk about this, but for anyone here that hasn't fully been privy to the whole story, Mohamad is an Iranian that was living in France, and yesterday or 2 days ago, I guess he posted a video, maybe yesterday, and he was essentially saying how when you receive this video, by the way, a little trigger warning for anybody if you want to kind of tune out. It is a pretty emotionally and disturbing story in many ways. So I do want to give that heads up. But essentially, he was an Iranian man that...
Iman, so sorry, can I pause you before you start? Yeah. The trigger warning is with regards to mental health. I'm just pulling up a number here. And again, we're preceding it because it's an extremely sensitive conversation. To my fellow Canadians who may be watching this, the number that you should have on hand is 833-456-4566. That's 1-833-456-4566. You can SMS 45645. That's texting 45645. If any thoughts surrounding the conversation that we have pop up for you, please refer to those numbers. If you are triggered, please message in this chat box. I will repeat that. But again, to support what Iman is about to say, this conversation isn't to highlight the actions, it's to highlight the effects and the consequences on our community and the conversations that it's important to have in order to be able to support each other better.
So Shala in the group chat or in the chat below mentioned that the number for US is dialing 988, and I'll be having a conversation with Shala June on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we'll talk about mental health. Paris, go ahead and explain. You do such a better job of exactly what happened with Mohamad, and then share with everybody. You know, when you saw that video or when you heard about it, what went through your head?
I think it's the same thought that everyone else had. I'm so sorry, I'm getting emotional, but what we've suffered as Iranians is so deeply traumatizing that we can't fault each other for how we react. There's in listening to a lot of Iranians speak and their experiences, individuals my age who had their parents be imprisoned and how their parents became abusive, reclusive, angry, violent, and they were angry at their parents and they never realized why they were the way they were until they found out that, the Islamic regime had imprisoned their parents. And when we're looking at the Mohamad Moradi story, it's no different. It's just literally an Iranian being so deeply wounded and affected by what's going on. So just to highlight for everyone, Mohamad Moradi was an Iranian man who was living in France, in Lyon, France, and he was deeply affected by what's going on. And he said that he did not have any mental illness, but that to highlight what was happening in Iran, he felt the need to attempt suicide. And I say that word because my understanding is that those words are the correct terminologies to use. And again, if these words are triggering to you, please refer back to those numbers. Please message us in this chat and we'll repeat them. But so he recorded a video sharing this message of basically the fact that he is living in absolute freedom in Iran, but that he's feeling a tremendous sense of guilt.
In France, he's living freedom in France.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. He's living in France, but he still does not feel disconnected from Iran, does not feel disconnected from his compatriots, and didn't feel like there wasn't any separation, despite the fact that he's living in absolute freedom. And that just like anyone in Iran who's giving their life for the country, that this was him giving his life for the country. There's a tremendous, and to anyone watching who's not Iranian, Iranians have a deep sense of patriotism that is deeply attached to the land itself. Even for those of us who didn't grow up there, feel that sense of patriotism. There's a sense of attachment that can't be. So what hits hard is that when you're listening to him speak, every word he says, I don't believe there's a single Iranian who didn't identify with what is Iranian, especially in the diaspora, who didn't identify with what he said. And as you get the sense of where he's going with this, the heightened sense of like, no, like, this can't be it. There's got to be another way. Like, we hope it doesn't end the way that it's meant to end. So since then, there's been a lot of conversations surrounding, obviously, sharing the story. It's incredibly sensitive, not only in the tragedy that a human feels like they need to do this to draw attention for their people, but also the fact that this can create other copycats, and this can create a sense of condoning this type of behavior, which is absolutely not anything that we want to do. So the community has kind of needed to rally together to figure out how we honor this man, how we honor his wish, but at the same time not inspire anything, not condone it, and not encourage anyone to repeat it.
Yeah, I mean, I was really on the fence on how to go about approaching this story. I mean, I could not imagine just completely ignoring it. At the same time, I had to be very careful on how to share it. In your opinion, is there a right way to bring attention to this story?
With a lot of content warnings. I posted the story as part of a larger content warning about mental health. Regardless of what the situation has driven us to do, even the Iranians who haven't been posting, who haven't been sharing, they have a nagging feeling. They know what's going on. There's not a single Iranian that's not affected. There's a lot of people who support the Islamic regime who are probably stressed out and don't want to see this regime go. And they're also under a tremendous amount of stress. They'll see their money go, their funding go, their lifestyle go. And then there are those who are, you know, working towards helping amplify the voices of the people in Iran. And we literally look at this hashtag list, and I did a post about it. It's literally a death watch list that's been a gift to us from this Islamic regime. And we know and care about these people as if they're personal acquaintances. And we check the hashtags, and we wake up each morning like holding our breath, worried that the news is going to be that we've lost another one. And so we're just doing our best to not lose anyone else. So whether it is at the hands of the regime or as a consequence of what's happening. So whatever we're sharing, even if it's a situation about the individuals who have a death sentence, we have, and also we're not doing our community any favors by not being sensitive about it, choosing our words carefully. Non-Iranians can be easily triggered by this, especially if they don't care. So, and Iranians who are, maybe it's their family member, maybe it's the city they're in, maybe it's their community, or maybe they're not at a good place mentally to be receiving this information. So we all have a responsibility towards each other in being sensitive with our words, whether it's in anger or in sadness.
One of my friends right now, Khashayar, says, and I don't know if this was a typo or I'm just not aware of the word. He said, I believe this tragedy has roots in Semitic culture, giving a human sacrifice for a higher demand. Did he mean Islamic, or is Semitic a word that I don't know about?
Semitic? No, Semitic is of that region. So if we saw in Tunisia as well, there's before the Green Revolution, there was the Arab Spring essentially, and it was started there by a gentleman who, and again, trigger warning, it was a self-inflicted wound. He set himself on fire in a public space. So this is similar, except this gentleman was in France, outside the country, trying to make a statement. The concept of self-flagellation, like Zanji, Zan, the concept of hurting ourselves, he's absolutely right, but it exists in different areas of that part of the world. But for us, this whole, Vatanam and Janam Fadai Iran, it's such an intrinsic word, and to some, they really literally take it literally. And this is not the first time. If you go through our history, there are thousands and thousands who did the same thing, who didn't convert to Islam, who didn't want to succumb to the oppression, whether it was Muslims or Mughals or any other rule. This isn't the first time an Iranian has taken their, attempted suicide for the purpose of their nation.
There's some things that are just going through my head, and let me ask you first. What do you think is the best way to honor Mohamad Moradi?
In sharing his name as somebody we've lost, including it in the names of the individuals we've lost, but not paying attention to the how or why. It's still an individual that we lost.
Okay. Tell me what message you have for. I just realized that we're half an hour. Time always flies when I'm talking to you.
Oh my God.
I mean, not that we're on any kind of time constraints, but I'm enjoying this. I mean, not enjoying, but yes, enjoying.
I cried for half of it.
I know.
Is anyone here? Am I still here?
But tell me, what's your message to viewers as we kind of reach the end part of this conversation with you?
Let's learn about our history, guys. Let's learn about our history. And not just through one book. Let's pick up different books, regardless of whether you're a monarch or a socialist or you want a democracy. Let's learn about it. Because if we grew up anywhere outside Iran, 100% chance we didn't learn our history. And if you grew up inside Iran, there was a concerted effort for us to not know our history. That's number one. Number two, our lion and sun flag, you guys, it is not the Pahlavi flag. The lion and sun have been iconic representations of our history. They are etched in stone in buildings that are hundreds, if not thousands, years old. Erasing it erases us and our history. The flag that has the lion and sun on it does not represent any monarch system. If you want to look it up, the monarchs actually have their own flag, which is a blue flag, and it's got an insignia on it. The version of the national flag they use actually has a crown on it. So let's please understand that. No one is saying that they want Pahlavi if they raise the lion and sun flag. They're just picking up their flag that was erased. And by the way, countries have had revolutions without changing their flags, France being one of them. So there was no reason to erase it unless they wanted to erase our history, which they successfully did until this new generation has done what many generations before it hasn't been able to do. So let's just take our pride back and actually exemplify it through our actions.
Perfectly stated. So Paris, in real closing,
yes,
you are one of the main producers that are working with me to create the new Countdown to Freedom in Iran series. Tell viewers who might not know about Countdown, what's the mission behind it? What are we hoping to accomplish? And just what's your feeling about it?
We are all glued to social media. I don't believe there's a single person who's watching us right now who's not glued. At any point of the day, we are not. I mean, already everyone's on social media, but no one's going an hour without checking a hashtag or checking on their social feeds to see what's going on. We don't have, and we talk about it with our friends, we talk about it with our families, but the community inside and outside Iran does not have a meeting point. Livestream allowed us to have a meeting point, but what you're going to do with Countdown to Freedom of Iran is going to have a set time every single week to bring everyone together, to have a conversation, like basically a huddle. That's what it is. It's a huddle for our community to come together to talk about what's going on, what are the action items this week, what are we highlighting? Does somebody have an event that they need to be highlighted? Does anyone have a petition they started that needs signatures? Are there people in our community that are giving back that need to be basically having a massive spotlight put on them? Also a conversation about mental health. Are we taking time out to take a breath? What does it look like for each of us? And also speaking to individuals who are basically making a big splash, and not just talking about them and what they're doing, but basically taking it and breaking it down. So each of us, whether we're in a small town, whether we're far from a team that's organizing something, what can we do to actually make a difference and for us to be peaceful at night and feel like we've given back? It may be for you, if you speak Persian, maybe you can translate, 2 or 3 sentences a week for Instagram captions. Maybe you can give advice or give an hour and read the text that somebody can't read in Persian to them. It could be minute, but it's going to be a really great way to unite Iranians at least once a week. And through, your work that you're doing on different platforms, there's going to be additional conversations to continue the conversations until there's freedom in Iran.
And the most important thing is to recognize that this is all in English, and it's a lot of Iranians that are just not able to really understand what's happening and get the news that they should be getting in English. So we're hoping to kind of be of value to that community, and hopefully to the non-Iranians, that they stumble upon our live stream or they see our content online, and that they're like, oh wow, I didn't realize just how severe the situation is, So we're hoping that this conversation leads to more conversations, so that the conversation doesn't stop until Iran is free. So that's kind of
and that people continue the conversations among themselves too. It can't stop. It can't start and stop with us.
Absolutely. Well, Parishun, the live stream rally for Iran could not have been done without you, and Countdown could not be done without you. So I'm grateful that we get to go on this journey once again, and hopefully it will be impactful, so that, like you said, we can put our head to sleep at night feeling that we're doing something to support our fellow Iranians inside of our homeland.
Thank you. It's honestly the privilege of a lifetime until we get to go home and do it in our homeland.
For sure.
And that's why Hamar Buskonin for everything they did, and just be like their hammal for whatever they needed to do for the rest of my life.
Then the series is going to be day 1 of freedom in Iran.
Yes.
And then we'll just... And then at day 2, and day 3, and day 4.
But in all honesty, if you guys have not watched Iman be the genius he is in front of the camera, I've said it to him in private, but honestly, go watch the live stream link, go to the Unite and Conquer YouTube page, watch this man work, and then just literally wait with bated breath to watch him go live again during the show. It really is such, I really hope, and I'm saying this honestly, that this gets to be a nightly show and that you get to do this forever, because it really, you bring the stories to life and the conversations to life in a very earnest way. And as somebody who, you know, wrote outlines and not scripts, but outlines and questions, and a team of us did, and the way that you're able to just have a conversation and stick to the point is a true gift. And I hope that you get to share it nightly in a free Iran.
Thank you. I mean, if it helps our people, then I'll keep on doing it, you know?
That's
So
all.
I appreciate it, but it wouldn't be anything without a great team that's helping out behind the scenes, that makes the hard part of it a little bit easier on me. So I appreciate you all. And all right, well, thank you so much, Paris, and I appreciate you joining me on this wonderful Wednesday evening. Stay warm up in Montreal. And I will talk to you before New Year. I was going to say if I don't see you, New Year, but I will definitely talk.
So. I'll be very abandoned. Azadi in 2023. Yeah. That's my new thing. Azadi in 2023.
Azadi. Love you, girl. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, as Paris signs off, just remember that if in any shape or form you'd like to support what we're doing at the Countdown for Freedom in Iran or Unite and Conquer, you can message me. I have a link in my bio. I have a link in the Let's Unite and Conquer Instagram page bio where you can see how you can support it. You can support it as an individual by making a minimum $100 contribution per episode, and then you become a compatriot where at the end of every episode, your name will be there so we can thank you. Or if you're a business owner, you can sponsor it and we get to advertise you and promote you and hopefully help you grow your business while you align your brand with a group of people at Unite and Conquer. They're doing whatever we can to be the voice of the Iranians. And somebody's actually messaging me and they want to sponsor another business. So they don't have a business, but they want to support another business. So you can even do that for as little as $250. You can become a business sponsor per episode. So I feel like if you have a family member or a friend and you're rooting for them and you want to do something for what we're doing while supporting your friends or family members' business, then sponsor a business and then be a part of what we're doing. So stay tuned for that countdown beginning on January 18th. We're going to have some incredible guests every Wednesday night. In the meantime, I'll be doing more of these IG lives with the most awesome of people, which are the Uniters, which I love dearly and I appreciate dearly, and whom I could not be doing what I'm doing without each and every single one of them. So that's that. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves. You need to figure out how you can become the better version of yourself so that you don't regress. You need to continue to improve. You need to be a stronger person, mind, body, and soul for yourself, for your loved ones, for our people, so that we can be the strongest version that we can be for our entire Iranian community and take over this regime and bring freedom to our homeland, which deeply deserves to have it, and so that we can have a new generation of people that can learn about our great culture, unlike what we've been oppressed in the last 43 years with. So wishing you guys a wonderful evening. Tomorrow, I don't have an IG Live guest yet. I have to get one of my Uniters to be a part of this. But Friday, it's going to be Mona Hadidi. She's been an awesome Uniter. It'll be happening at 4 p.m. on Friday. And like I said, Shahla, Nikpur, Monday at 4 p.m. But I'm going to try to fill in as many spots as possible and do as many IG Lives because I love connecting with all y'all. And I appreciate y'all. If you... well, that's actually it. Good night, everybody. Love you. Bye. Oh, wait. به امید آزادی